Hi, good afternoon. Welcome back.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Good.
Awesome. All right, so we did angle relationships yesterday. We talked about angles, falling in love. There was two of them, and they made a bunch of different relationships. Like they were always next to each other. They were adjacent. They were back to back because they were homies and they had each other's back. They were vertical. They always formed this straight line wherever they went. They were linear. Those kinds of relationships. Today, we're going to branch away from the numbers for a moment, and we're going to start talking about the setup for logic. And we're going to start off with our conditional statements. So, take a moment, update your table of contents, please.
You still want us to do the line and all that?
Yes. Update your table of contents. You don't have anything to glue today, so you're going to need to use the code and title that is located under the La Feria logo to update your table of contents. This is Chapter 2, Lesson 3 in your textbook, but we're still in Unit 1 of geometry class. All right. Going to flip through to find the page of notes to start on.
What's the COL? What is it?
It's C2L3, Chapter 2, Lesson 3 in your textbook. So this was what we did yesterday. We did all the angle relationships, and we did a little bit of algebra at the end of it. Please leave yourself a space to do your KWL. When you get that assignment back, please have that assignment completely done and in the turn-in bins by tomorrow. I will begin grading as early as this afternoon for those of you who've turned it in early. All right, and notes are going to start on the very next page. If you are using a composition book, as I am, you are definitely going to need 2 full sheets, so go ahead and prep 2 full sheets now. If you are using a standard-sized spiral notebook, you might be able to squeeze it all on one page, though be prepared to go to page 2 if necessary. As always, lesson title and codes located under the La Feria logo. We are talking about conditional statements. And today is October the 1st. September is officially over. So wake up!
Scary now.
Yesterday's lecture where I first introduced that joke, which was kind of lame, but I introduced it anyway. That video has been posted to YouTube, and a link to the song that the joke is referencing, in case you didn't get it or haven't heard the song, is located down below in the description in what I love to call the doobly-doo. The doobly-doo. I picked that up from another YouTuber, and I linked his channel so that you can go see if he's got some cool stuff. Did I clean my whiteboard? I took an eraser to it, but that was about it.
Yeah, it looks like a lot better.
Yeah, it looks better. Oh, thank you. Community service hours if you want to come by with the janitor's cart and spray it down and Windex it. All right, as always, your what and how objectives, either on the projector or on the whiteboard. Let's go ahead and get started. In order to begin our discussion today, we need to begin with figuring out what a conditional statement is. You guys have actually been around conditional statements your entire lives. Stuff like, Mom and Dad go, clean your room or I'm taking away your phone. You heard that?
Yeah.
Or, if you don't behave, I'm going to hit you with the chancla. Right? And then even if you're facing them and they throw it at you, they're still going to hit you in the back of the head? Magic. Right? South Texas joke, YouTube. But these are all conditional statements, right? They have some sort of condition that has to be met before action is taken. If you don't clean your room, that's the condition. Messy room. What happens?
Be grounded.
Grounded. You lose the phone. If you don't behave, That's the condition, bad behavior. What happens? What's the outcome? Chancla to the face. These are all conditional statements, and so for our course, we're going to formalize the look of the conditional statement and have the statement be of the form if, then. Now, that's not to say that it's not a conditional statement if it's not in this form, but this is how we're going to make sure that it's formalized. Okay? Now, this is what you say when you say one of these conditional statements. If you don't clean your room, right? Or if you don't behave right. Okay, that's the squiggle. It's fill in whatever you want. Then I'm taking away your phone. Or I'm going to hit you in the face with the chancla. Mathematicians like their symbols. We do. And so we're going to replace this squiggle with the letter P. So if some statement, which we're going to call P, then some other statement, which we're going to call Q. Now these statement parts, this P and this Q, have actual names. The name of this P portion is the hypothesis. Just like in your science class, you start off an experiment with a hypothesis, a guess of what you think is going to happen. If I take these two chemicals and mix them together, then something is going to happen. The result, the conclusion. For my writers in English, the hypothesis would be your introduction. The conclusion would be your conclusion. Yes, sir?
What's the red one?
The red one is a Q. It is a lowercase q. You see it? Okay. Make sense so far? Okay, let's put this into practice. Our first example is identify the hypothesis and conclusion, I'll scoot it over in a moment, of the following conditional statements. I think my hand went a little ham on the word conditional and there's an extra E. Sorry. And I'll zoom in a little bit too. There you go. All right. Here's your conditional. If an angle is acute, then its measure is between 0 and 90 degrees. Bust out your two colors. Any two colors different from each other. Select one of them to be the color for your hypothesis, and I'd like you to please underline the word hypothesis in that color. If you're using highlighters, you can just highlight the word. But if you're using pencil colors, please underline it. Do that in the directions as well. You will get the homework practice assignment for this item tomorrow. And I'd like you to practice underlining it in this color. Okay, so be able to have these colors available to you. Circle the conclusion with the other color. So circle conclusion with the other color. You will have a test on Monday on this stuff and some of the skills that you've already seen before, segment addition, postulate, angle addition, postulate, those kinds of things. Okay, so be ready for that on Monday.
So is it going to be like a vocabulary group?
A lot of vocabulary because there's a lot of vocabulary going on. Identify what's an acute angle, what's this angle. Yeah, so a lot of the stuff you've seen before. Just going to take another test grade. Just kick off the 6 weeks. Start it off right for you guys. And give you plenty of time. Should be fairly easy as long as you've been doing the homework and practicing, yes.
So if we got like a good grade in classes, we should get a better grade in stuff?
We should, though we're going to add in these conditionals that we're doing today. Okay?
You're gonna need those colors.
Yep, you're going to need these colors. All right. So, in this conditional statement, if an angle is acute, then its measure is between 0 and 90. Identify the hypothesis. Let's look. The hypothesis was the stuff that came after the if but before the comma. So if I use that same idea, those 4 words are the hypothesis. So my hypothesis is an angle is acute. Which means the conclusion is the stuff after the word then, but before the period. Its measure is 90 degrees. And when you're asked to identify and then write them, please don't write the word if or the word then. Okay? It's just those phrases. Questions on what a conditional statement is and how to identify the parts of it? All right, let's go on to the next one. The next new item. So yesterday we were talking about angles and the relationships that they could form. Today, with these conditional statements, we're going to talk not about their relationships, but about the family, about their relatives. Do y'all have that one cousin or tío or tía that no matter what you say to them, they're always going to get it all mixed up?
My grandma.
Your grandma? You're like, hey grandma, we're gonna go to dinner and then watch a movie, okay? Oh, we thought you were gonna go watch a movie and then go eat. No, grandma, we're gonna go eat and then watch the movie. Oh, okay. Well, bring me something from the restaurant. But grandma, we're gonna go eat first. Right?
Yeah.
You have that relative? Grandma converse. That's what converse is going to do. The converse is formed by exchanging the hypothesis and the conclusion and getting them in the wrong order from what you were given.
We highlighted it too. Or no?
We're going to, yes. Oh, I'm trying to think of what to say here. Sorry. Here we go. there we go. There we go. This is coming out right. Sorry. Grandma was in my head. So the conditional statement is if 2 angles are vertical angles, then they are congruent. Go ahead and underline and circle the word hypothesis and conclusion. And I'm going to use a third color, and I'm going to highlight over exchanging by putting this kind of squiggly on it because it's like constantly getting in the wrong place. All right, first things first, identify your hypothesis and your conclusion. What was the hypothesis?
The 2 angles are vertical.
Yes, indeed. 2 angles are vertical is your hypothesis. What would be your conclusion?
They are congruent.
They are congruent. Yes, ma'am. All right. Grandma converse. She hears it, and she's going to say if. Start with the conclusion. Yes, sir. If they are congruent. then
Your vertical angle?
the two angles are vertical angles. Now notice we're not looking at these sentences in terms of is this actually true or not. Okay? We're not dealing with that yet. Right now we're just introducing how we process changing them and making them relatives of each other. Questions on gramma converse? All right. While she's still writing, those of you who are done, are there any questions on gramma converse? Okay, I still see quite a people writing. I'll keep waiting. Before I can introduce the next relative, I have to introduce a new vocabulary word, kind of a new general word. This new general word is the word negate. Have you heard this word before? Negate.
To like neglect.
Is it like neglect? It is not, because that would be negl. This is negate. Or naga.
Like argue or something?
It could be used in arguments, yes.
Is it like to like ignore it?
It's very similar. It's gonna. It could have a similar feel to it, yes. Does it look like a word that's familiar?
Negotiate.
Yeah.
Negotiate, that would be nego, and N-E-G-O. This is negate.
Negative.
Negative. We replace that, we stick in an IV in there, right? And a negative is the opposite of a positive. It kind of undoes it, make it mean the opposite. So to negate something is to make that something mean the opposite.
Did you read it for funny?
Now, I need to recondition your brains for a moment, because when I say means the opposite and I say what's the opposite of hot, most of you are going to say
For what?
cold. If I say the opposite of up, you're going to go
Down.
right,
Yeah.
left, or wrong. But that's not what we mean by the opposite when we're doing a negation. What we mean by the opposite when we're doing a negation is that it's not that thing that we're talking about. If something is the opposite of hot, it's not hot. Now, I don't know if that means it's warm or it's cold. All I know is that it's not hot. The opposite of up is
Down.
not
Down.
up. I don't know what direction it's in. All I know is that it's not that way. It's not up. It's somewhere else. Okay? The opposite of left is
Not right.
not left. I don't know if it's to the right or if it went down or if it just disappeared completely. It's just not left.
So it's anything besides what it is.
It's anything besides what it is in that moment. Mind blown, right? Look, here's some examples to help you out. I like green eggs and ham. Negate that statement. I don't like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. What if I gave you I don't cry?
I cry.
I cry.
Or
I do cry. Or technically speaking, I don't not cry. Yeah, what? You're adding in a not. But generally speaking, when I have these two nots next to each other, it's like two negatives, right? And two negatives cancel and become a positive, and so we can just write this as I do cry. Give me a second, this phone. Hi, I'm in class. Can I call you back in about an hour? Hello, yes, I'm currently in the middle of a lecture. Can I call you back in about a half hour? Thank you for hanging up on me. Sorry, they called like 5 times in a row.
Note to editor.
Note to editor, cut out the phone call.
Yes, I'll come back after school.
Okay. You'll come after school and edit? Okay. You have to help me figure out how to get it from my computer to that computer because I couldn't yesterday. All right. Now that we've figured out how to negate stuff, let's go to the next page. If you have more than like 4 lines available, you can keep going on the same page. But if you don't, you need
What
to.
did it say? I do not and don't, right?
Right.
Cry what?
I do cry. I don't not cry.
I don't cry.
Here's the next relative. The next relative is the annoying, obnoxious inverse of a sister or brother. Older brother. This is the sibling that always says the opposite of what's happening. Dude, didn't I see you at the movies yesterday? No, you didn't. Are you sure? Because I was right behind you. No, you weren't. Or my favorite one. Dude, we were supposed to meet at Whataburger. You weren't there. Yes, I was. No, you weren't. I didn't see you. I was there. Yeah, you saw me. What? Dude. Right? I sent you the text. You didn't reply. Yes, I did. No, you didn't. I've got it on my phone right here. There's no reply. That's the inverse. You create inverses by negating both the hypothesis and the conclusion. Dude, I saw you there. No, you didn't.
You took the remote. No.
Yeah, you took the remote. No, you didn't. No, I didn't. Dude, you have my purse. No, I know.
The upper person.
Dude, you didn't stop to get milk. Yes, I did.
My mom. That's where my mom is. We're getting it from the car. It's not there. Yes, it is. Mom, it's not there.
That's the inverse. Okay? So our example is we're going to write the inverse. Of this statement. If 2 angles are adjacent, then they have a common side. Not shave, they have. Then they have a common side. We're negating. All right, get your colors. Underline the hypothesis, circle the conclusion. What was the hypothesis?
If 2 angles are adjacent.
2 angles are adjacent.
Oh, adjacent.
Okay.
They have a common side as a conclusion.
Beautiful. They have a common side as our conclusion. Nicely done. All right, let's write our inverse. Channel your inner mom. No, it's not. Come on, please do it. No. If negate two angles are adjacent. What do I write?
Oh no, if they have a common,
We're not flipping, we're just negating.
okay, if two angles are
Not.
not,
If two angles are not adjacent. So our original conclusion, or excuse me, our original hypothesis was two angles are adjacent. No, they're not. Is our inverse. Then, the original conclusion was they have a common side. Negate it.
Then they
don't
don't have a common side.
There you go. Then they do not have a common side. Feeling okay on the inverse, or do you want another example?
I'm getting it somewhat.
Feeling okay with it? All right. You'll get some practice on it for sure in tomorrow. The last relative. The last relative is the very kooky, the very crazy, the always gets everything mixed up and argues with you, the contrapositive of a conditional statement. Not only is the contrapositive like grandma converse, constantly getting things in the wrong order, but she's also like mom. No, she's not. Yes, she is. No, she's not. Yes, she is. So the contrapositive is formed by negating and exchanging the hypothesis and the conclusion. Negating, exchanging, hypothesis, conclusion. Here's the example. If two angles are supplementary, then their measures add to 180 degrees. We'll be writing our contrapositive right here. First things first, identify that hypothesis
Two angles are supplementary.
and the conclusion.
Their measures are 180.
Add to 180, yes.
Oh. I put and.
All right, contrapositive, we need to flip them, we need to get them out of order, and then we need to negate them. So, if my new hypothesis,
If their measures do not add to 180.
there you go. He took the old conclusion and then he negated it. If their measures do not add to 180, comma, then
The two angles are not supplementary.
Then the two angles are not supplementary. Questions on crazy kooky converse? We're okay with this one? All right. Are there any of these relatives that you would like to look at again just to make sure you're feeling comfortable with them? No, we're doing all right? All right, so we're going to start at the top. The conditional statement, if then. If conditional statement makes sense, then give me a big thumbs up. If it's a little confusing, please thumb sideways. All right, thank you very much. If converse statement feels okay, give me a big thumbs up. If it is a little confusing, then give me a thumb sideways. All right, thank you. If negate, the concept of negating something, makes complete sense, then give me a big thumbs up. Okay, you see some sideways, thank you. Inverse, if inverse makes sense, then give me a thumbs up. All right, got a lot of thumbs up, some going thumbs up to sideways, thank you very much. And lastly, contrapositive. If contrapositive feels okay, then give me a thumbs up. All right, cool. Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and close this out, and I will speak to just the few of you who had sideways individually.